Well,
8th,
hello,
9th,
everybody.
and 10th.
9th and 10th. We're
9th
talking
and 10th.
houses. We're
Yeah.
talking house placements. Well, that's as you were a teacher, right? 10th
Oh,
house.
yeah.
There
Well,
you
and
go.
my
And
Paleo Theater's
mine.
in the 10th at 29 degrees. So I have a lot of stuff at 29 degrees. Hi, everybody.
Hi, boy. We don't have anybody coming in yet. Let's see. Let's
Okay.
see on the. I gotta get my phone. Get on the channel because the internet have not been working well.
No, it's been,
There we go.
tarot
Get
stash.
on the channel 'cause the internet have not been working. Okay, great. I'm listening
No,
to
it's
myself.
been,
Um, one watching. Well, thank you, Jen Bowles,
hey,
visionary
Jen.
gal. Tara's stats just went live too. Hi,
Yeah.
Jen. Hi, Bora Bora. Bora Bora says she's here. It is.
And that Dion's on, and yeah. Well, it is what it is, right?
Hi, Penny. Yeah. I
Hey,
mean,
Penny, Penny, Penny.
this is an interesting full moon. Well, it's a first full moon of the year, right? 2025.
Well,
It always starts out with Cancer.
but we also have to look at it that
Hi,
it is the
Venus, please.
last lunation in the lunar cycle, in the lunar year, because the next one is Chinese New Year, and that is
Right.
at 29 degrees of no, it's on January 29th.
Leo should be a Leo full moon next
Yes,
one, right?
yes,
Um,
because the sun will be in Aquarius,
and that
and
kind of makes sense though, because Leo is the sun. It should go first, right? So we have the Gregorian calendar who says
mm,
January is the first month of the year. So this is technically the first full moon, but it could be the last full moon if we're following the wheel of the year, right?
right,
That's what we're saying.
exactly. Well,
Okay.
and it's the third moon, fourth moon of the Celtic, of the pagan calendar. So there's many things that we have to stop and consider as we go around the year, and let your light shine is always a big part of it.
Be some
So,
sage. Oh, we got light. We got a full moon.
right?
I came in my room and there's a water thing in the front of my window here, and the moon was just vibing off the water, and
Oh,
I was like, "Well, isn't that perfect for a Cancer full moon?" It's
right.
a watery one, guys and gals, and oh
Hi,
boy,
Gina.
it is conjunct Mars in Cancer. That's retrograde. And let me tell you, this is right on my son. We're so lucky. But I've talked to a few people today who are feeling physical pain. A lot of time, when the moon comes, it's really vibing, and it felt heavy all day. Let me put it that way. It felt heavy. I felt tired. I felt, oh goodness, I can't get it together. It's like kind of in the mud. And eventually I got here, so I feel good about that. And I'm so glad everybody's here. Hi, Jen. Hi, Gina's Place. Hi, Annie here. Hi, Oil Painter.
Hi.
Hi, Bora Bora. I don't know. Let's see. Penny Patowski is here. Hi. So it is um, Cancer, and it's the moon, and it's the moon rules Cancer. The moon and the sun are opposite, right? They're the luminaries, so it's it's really powerful energy, and that Mars is, like I said, it's retrograde, but it's going to go behind the moon, so it occults. How would you explain that? Hi, Rossi.
How would I explain that?
Like I feel like it's kind of gonna Mars is kind of gonna go blocked out because it's gonna go behind the moon,
Well,
and it's like maybe the defenses relax a minute. Maybe you come in.
this is the thing about what's going on in the sky. right? I mean, it's everything is like, maybe, but,
Yeah, it
right?
is really. Maybe.
Maybe
What's
buts are
going
hard
on?
to live with, aren't they?
Well, damn,
So,
it's been years. It seems like, Diana. Like
well, that's
tired.
because it is. So, so one of the things I did earlier today was kind of, so we can take a look at what the Star of
Yeah,
David looks like.
Tony
And
Bear.
this is, I delineated a lot of things because if I didn't, hold
She
on, hold
missed a
on
lot
here.
of
Oh
things.
my God, it is such a crapshoot up there right now that it's hard to see anything,
It's hard. It's hard to
right?
see. It's hard to. It's, I mean, but the
I
thing
mean,
is, we're feeling it, aren't we? Wow, look at that,
right.
though.
And
That's
look at it. I mean, you can,
beautiful.
right? You can see it,
It's
but
beautiful.
it is like a little of this and a little of that, and we're all within 2 degree orb of each other. So you have to read.
It
You
is
can't
worth.
just isolate that. It's this one is with this one is with this one. So even if it's, like one of those asteroids where you give it a 2 or 3 degree orb, it's still right next to it in the next one. So they merge together. So when we look up in the sky, this is what the Star of David, the Shield of David, really looks like, and it incorporates the same astrological uh, planets and asteroids to create the sextile that goes here between the points of the Merkaba, which is the grand trine that is reaching up, the spiritual nature of us that reaches up to open our hearts, and then the rooted sensation of creativity. So, this is, I started speaking about this the other day with Terry last week.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is, the spirit goes up, the soul goes down. They are they work together and they are interchangeable in some ways, but they are not the same. This is what we reach for with the ascension, and this is where we create what it is we want when we get there. So it is heart to mind, right? Heart to the crown chakra.
The
It
heart.
is
Yeah.
it is Shiva, and Shakti. Or yeah, Shakti is the grounded creator, and Shiva is the male, the reaching for the highest source. And
It's
that is the combination of the divine masculine and the divine feminine.
doesn't it kind of feel like we're like we and we're individuals, right? And we each have this. It's this unique combination lock that is untethering us. This is how I'm feeling it,
Like,
untethering us from this density, right? Because
mhm.
as what was it, 2 days ago, the nodes changed. Okay, the nodes are very important for the collective to go. Okay, that's how we evolve, right? It's the nodes always changing, always encouraging us energetically to focus in on certain things. We're really never even aware of it, but they went from Aries, Aries Libra, South Node, Aries North Node to Pisces North Node, our way forward, to Virgo South Node. So right now, today, I think it is that we have a conjunction with that Pisces North Node and the Neptune in Pisces. That I mean, that
Well,
makes
that's
you're just out there like kind of floating, right? And
well,
we are supposed to be dreaming and using our imagination and just kind of vibing with it all, right?
right.
But
Now,
now the
this is
fields are here. The
here it is
moon.
right here.
The
We have
moon
the
is
south node right there in Virgo. What everybody needs to remember is that the nodes go counting down. That means that they move clockwise, right? So it appears that they're moving retrograde compared to the planets, because the planets go counterclockwise. So when the nodes switch signs, they go from 0 degrees of Aries in however many minutes, and then they hit that 29 degrees of the next sign. So it's 29 degrees of Pisces.
Last degree of the zodiac. We went from the first degree, 0 Aries, to the last degree within a few minutes, right? When they changed. So we're still in that 29 Pisces, that last degree of the zodiac, that you are truly just floating. You really have no direction. You're just kind of out of it, and a lot of times we want to force ourselves. I think our community is a little different, but we want to force ourselves to go get stuff done, right? Well, then we got a full moon 2 days later in Cancer. You're really just getting that heavy water, right? We're just kind of swimming.
Right.
It's a beautiful, beautiful chart. I love it.
It's beautiful. And the thing is that it has a lot of asteroids at work in it in order to create this symbol. Now,
Yeah.
what happened to David? This is Magical Mystery Tour right here. He had
Mm.
great ability to lead people, and people wanted him to be the leader. But then his ego got in the way. So this is telling us to check ourselves all the time before we point fingers and you
Absolutely.
know, throw blame. Let's look at the interior. And that's what this Cancerian moon is about. It is, it's about nurturing ourselves and giving permission to take care of ourselves in that respect. But it's
Emotion.
right. But it's telling us to forgive ourselves, give ourselves all of the nurturing that we need. Has to start within, because nobody else can figure that part out but
Nope. Nope. Nope.
and
Nope.
and we struggle with it. If we're struggling with it, how is somebody else going to figure it out for us? So this Cancerian moon is the perfect time to do things like that. Now we have 3 mystic rectangles. Now the thing is like I had said earlier, everything, it is all formed by the same planets and asteroids in the sky. There's not where there's anything missing, right? So that south node has a sextile going over to the to Estrella, and also the vertex at the hour of the when the moon was exact, which was at
5:26.
4:03 my
Five.
time.
It was 5:26 p.m.
5:26. Well, it
tonight.
should have been right around the same. What did I do? No, I've got it. That, you know how this app sometimes just doesn't get it. Anyways,
It still would
it
be an
hit it.
orb.
It hit it.
Yeah, it's
Right.
still an
It hit
orb. Yeah.
it. Hit it. It just didn't, like, you're not
Okay.
you're not in daylight savings because we're both in Eastern time zone. Anyway, so it goes from that south node over to the vertex in Estrella. There's orb discrepancy there, but they are working together. And then that south node also goes over to the moon and Mars. Well, the moon and Mars is retrograde. So how much action can we take? Not very much,
Mm-mm.
because it's retrograde. And just what you said, it's going to hide behind the moon.
Yeah. So it's not much that we could do, and it's not even, Mars through his retrograde in Leo and Cancer, he's going backwards to 17 degrees Cancer. He's still got a little ways to go, and then he's going to come back, and he's not going to come out of his shadow period after he stations direct until like June 9th. It's a long retrograde, but this
Just
is
like last
this.
year, remember, 7 months.
That was
Oh,
the
that was
year
a
before.
beautiful orb. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that was the year. Yeah, that wasn't that the year before, or I'm not sure, but this is Cancer, right? So Mars is not like about being in his heart, Leo or Cancer, his feelings, but he is going to mature through this as we are. But it just takes time. All these, all these uh, aspects, all these things take time. This is a new, as this him being with this Cancer full moon. This is him and us maturing emotionally.
Hmm.
We're dropping all that baggage. Like Dinah just said, you got to go inside and feel your feels. You got to adjust how you feel if it's not feeling good to you, you
Right.
know? I mean, that's we're the only ones who can to decide whether we feel good or not. And right before Diana and I came on, the last thing we were talking about, the last thing people want to do is feel their feelings. Now, we all have Cancer in our chart. I happen to have a sun in Cancer. That is conjunct this full moon tonight and this Mars. It's not easy. I know. I mean, I've grown emotionally in 63 years because of this Cancer, this Cancer sun. But
Well, and Pluto and your
and Pluto's in my on my ascendant, so it's just like you know, it is about going inside, releasing. This is a huge release that every full moon is, right? We want to
yeah,
release what's not serving us, but then we want to call in, or it's a culmination point of what we've called in earlier, and it comes to fruition around the full moon. Make your intentions, do your cinnamon, do the cinnamon, do a little ceremony,
right,
create a grid, because this emotional foundation, you got to look at it like this: whether it's the beginning or the end of the year, it's January and we have the whole year to go. So this creates an emotional foundation that we
right,
are that giving we're giving the okay to. And if
right,
we're giving the okay to crappy emotions, and what do we think our year's going to be like?
right,
With the last full moon was in Gemini. That was getting your mind right. But another thing Diana brought up, everything got to connect to the heart. You got to connect every chakra to your heart, because the heart's the leader, and all the other chakras follow the mind, the ego especially follow the heart's direction. It
right.
isn't the other way around. Now, my mind will get jammed up real quick. I'll get all, next thing you know, you're spiraling out of control. And I got to stop, take a breath. I mean, we all do this, I'm sure, every day. I'm not the only one. But it's been a tough few months. It's been tough. And
Right.
and here we come and we get to the first of the year, and Diana and I, we always said it would be bumpy until about March.
Yeah.
Man,
But
it's
when
bumpy.
this has been in the sky for a couple of days. That's what the
Yeah.
beauty of this
And
being asteroids that are slow movers and Mars being retrograde and the moon being the fastest thing up there, and
yeah.
then the sun following with that moon. So when we look at this, I just want to show this because here's the south node. So it creates a sextile over here to the moon and Mars. That's a point of the trine. You see that?
Hmm.
And it goes up to the top.
We got and that's the
And then
good thing. We
on
do
it,
have a lot of trines and sextiles in this
right.
chart, so that's a
But then
lot
it's
of
on,
movement, right?
well, and
Flow.
it's Neptune in the North Node conjunct, which is the top of the water trine that we've got going on, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you look at it, we get these three mystic rectangles that are all part of the formula that creates the Merkaba. And there is an old quilt pattern that is called the Star of David. There's
Hmm.
not the connecting line between the rectangles, but rather that star itself is left just like the Merkaba.
Hmm.
But that is the emblem that was on David's chest plate.
Mm.
Okay, so we're all under this sky, even if you're not born with it. And I've met a few people who have this in their chart. I've done charts that people have that in their chart, but it's not an easy thing. It's always telling us to check on yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
know, good leaders check themselves. So it
Constant.
just depends on how it is in the sky for you,
Right.
but
And
what it
that,
lights up in your chart. But that it is, no matter what, it's up there. It's been up there for a week, and it it's the buttons on your shirt. It can be a tool, just like fear can be a positive tool.
yeah,
It
show.
can be a projectile to make you move. It can be the friction. Fear can be the friction that creates the warmth that makes you take off and do something about it.
Mm-hmm. And that you got to see that pattern, right, is up in the sky. It's vibing down on top of earth. It's really, I mean, it's really cool when you think about how energy flows in and out of earth, right,
Mm-hmm.
and flows through us. And it at every moment in time where we have that choice, right, to evolve.
Right.
We have the choice to what we focus on. um it, this today. This did have a small, what was a pretty quick square, right, to Chiron on the
Yeah.
moon. Yeah.
Well, plus being opposite Pluto.
Well, Mars, that Mars opposing Pluto is still in play, I think.
Oh yeah,
Even-
that part is, but even the Chiron, because
Yeah,
it's Chiron.
yeah.
And so the defensive feelings that we've had today is right there in
Hi,
that
everybody.
Mars conjunct the moon, because now as it gets closer to being exact, which at whatever hour it was, when it gets closer to being exact, it is now like, oh, okay, now we're working together. But Mercury, Mars not only can't be seen by the rest of us, but is going retrograde behind that at that time. And that is when it is opposite Pluto. And of course, Mars retrograde is going to be opposite Pluto. Well, what do they co-rule? Scorpio. So you've
Hmm.
also got to take a look at
At your
what's
score.
in your Scorpio house, what's in your eighth house, what do you have in Scorpio? You know, I mean, these guys are in different signs than that, but how is that affecting you and what you got going on? Because there's going to be a little flavor of that in your eighth house stuff and in your Scorpio stuff, even if there's not an actual aspect going to that.
Right. And this is like, this is something Diane and I always say, when we read these charts, we are reading for the collective, but at any
Mhm.
point, if you have your chart, you can check it. These affect us all. Yes, it narrows down in your chart, but these energies are above us. They're affecting us all in some way. And that that Chiron that just came, he just came out of retrograde December 30th, so he's starting to tick along. He's still slow, but and I spoke to someone today who really had it's a Chiron return for her,
Uh,
and had a massive
Ooh.
healing. She had a massive healing thing happen with her today, and that's, it's all of it's possible from A to
Yeah.
Z. It's where do you want to place, you know, do you want to take responsibility for what you think, what you feel, you know, uh, what you want to share with others, because a lot of times I know I used to do this. I'm a Cancer. I'd be upset, especially when I was young, and I would just dump on people, not realizing that I am entangling energy. Nobody
It,
needs to hear that.
well, and entangling your own energy within yourself. You're just creating
Exactly.
this
Yeah.
turbulent storm.
Yep, yep, it's constant, and until you go, oh man, I can stop this, I can clear this, I have the control to do this, as long as and it took a while too. I used to point the finger outside, oh, it's your fault, or it's your fault, and that's, it takes a minute to realize, hey, maybe somebody did do something wrong to me, but I have the choice now to walk away, to try to make amends, whatever.
That's because you've done a lot of healing and your own shadow work, which is
Yes,
something that always comes back to us.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, just think of Peter Pan. He got upset when he lost his shadow, not understanding that at noon there's probably no shadow, but you know, bang or
Well,
bang.
it's interesting, right? Because I feel like I just went through another dark night of the soul from September to December, but and I just started feeling better in the beginning of January, so I was kind of hopeful. And I'm trying to stay that way, even though it looks, there's a lot in the external world that is, I mean, it's just heartbreaking. And
Yeah.
let's say a quick little.
So,
Do you
you
want to
know,
say a little prayer
there
for
was also impulsive behavior with today too, right?
Well, there's that Mars retro. Well, it's kind of confused, right? He's kind of
Yeah.
confused. Like, how do I go for? Well, I'm going backwards, and and I'm supposed to feel this stuff while I'm going backwards. He's not really happy about that right now,
Right.
although he's adapting, right? And I'd say that is kind of the big thing here. We are going to adapt. We are going to emotionally mature. It might not be today. It might be, and I mean, it's a constant thing that never ends, but that's
Yeah.
the year, the theme of the year. And especially with Mars there, it's going to be emotionally mature once he goes, stations direct and goes direct, emotionally mature on what actions you take going
Yeah.
forward. You're only going to take action, or maybe that's the guidance here. Oh, how it feels for you. If it feels yucky, don't do it. That's kind of the message that Spirit is saying. We're not supposed to sit in the muck. We're not. And that's a choice too, right? That's another thing. I can sit here, and I have the last couple months was just releasing stuff, just letting it come out of me, but you got to go through that sometimes. It's part of the process, and it's no one wants to do it. No one wants to sit in their feelings. That's kind of, I mean, we can see it through the outside world, through the people we know around us. Most people will do anything than to have a deep conversation, you know. Hi,
Right.
Lori Hansinger. Hi, Viviani.
Yes. So
And
one of the things I did today that was it was impulsive at the moment, but it's been something that I've been needing to do for a long time. Last week I went down to the store where I uh, had been reading cards. Now she closed that location and opened it a different store in the town of Plymouth, but in a different location, and there's no place to hide the soothsayer so that there's privacy for people to have readings. So I went down to get my dressing screen. So I figured, okay, I can put that across my studio entryway, and that'll keep the little dog from going in there and doing things that get him in trouble and get on my last nerve, right? Which is to use that as a bathroom. So I put it up yesterday and I went, oh, this is not going to work. You knew that when you took that thing to the store to begin with. You need to sell it. It doesn't work in this house. But I keep hanging on to it because it's so beautiful. And it's something that came from the Smithsonian Institute.
mm,
And so
that's hard to let go of.
right. It's one of their um, remakes of something that is in the institute in the
Hmm.
museum. So,
Hmm.
anyways, I've been toying with this, and it never dawned on me. Just get a damn dog gate or a baby gate or one of those things. So I went online today, found one. The size I need is like 59 inches, and it's on sale. Oh gosh! So it was
See?
impulsive to go shopping for the thing that I should have gotten in the first place, because that way the light from that room will still flood the hallway, and I mean, it's perfect. It's not blocking, it's not hemming anybody in, and I don't have to worry about him jumping on that screen and knocking it over and killing himself
Right,
because
right.
it's heavy. It's
Oh
a
wow.
four
I
panel
bet it. I
screen.
bet it's beautiful.
It is beautiful, and I keep hanging on to it because somehow, somewhere, I mean, I've had it on loan to people and brought it back.
Wow. And that's kind of goes with the cancer, nostalgia, the past, definitely your mom, the moon, cancer, the cancer part of us in our chart
Mhm.
is related to our mom. Cancer is the first water sign too, and you got to think of it like this: how
Yes,
how when you were born, how you were nurtured speaks volumes for how you
your mom.
evolved as a human, and how much inner work you got to do maybe in some cases. And that's that first nurturing presence, right? That first safety and security. That's what all signs want, that, but that's like big for cancer. Like big. And it's in there. It's like I said, we're all signs and we have cancer in us somewhere in there in our
You
chart somewhere.
know, you just brought up a something that I've actually never put it together with what you just said about mother and nurturing. Now, my mom is a Scorpio, was a Scorpio. Love you, mom. Um, but the problem was she gave birth to me, and I gave her a horrible urinary tract because of the way I was born. Frank Breech, upside down and butt first, and a mess. And
I'm with
so,
you. I was born
yeah,
the
face
same
down,
way.
right? You
Both of
too.
us, yeah, we were both born that way.
So my dad took me home from the hospital to the arms of my grandmother, who was a Virgo. I bonded with her in those days because my mother was in the hospital for 11 days after I left. Uh-oh.
What
Am I
happened?
frozen or are you?
No, yeah, I'm sorry. I was reading chat.
Oh. So that bonding, that no wonder my nana was the person I bonded with. And it actually, it didn't interfere, but it did, because I always felt like my mother was out and didn't want me. But I didn't know that
Ah,
till I became an adult and started studying astrology and began to realize, well, that was the element that was missing, because Nana was bonding with me for 11 days when there was no way that my mother could hold me or take care of me because they wouldn't let me go to the hospital. You're talking
yeah,
1949. You know how
mhm,
backwards things go
yeah.
back then.
Mm.
Well, thank you, Leah.
And see, like it's those things that are coming up, or just all of a sudden clicking, like it just did for
Yeah,
Diana. Like, wow, that
yeah.
it wasn't her mom's fault. She was sick, and it was certainly there was people taking care of her, but it's that separation from the baby and the mom, immediate separation like that, where it does give you, it might cause you to
Sure.
feel
And,
certain ways about
you
things.
know, at that time, we were living with my grandparents, but my dad was a bus driver,
Mm,
city bus, right? So, he'd be doing his line and then come home and just fall asleep on the couch like always.
mm,
So the other thing that we have that's in the sky that's important is a yod. And so many people ask, what is a yod? So it's a sextile at the very bottom, 60 degrees apart.
60 sextile, yeah.
But
Okay.
up the center to the top of the point, where that's God's finger pointing at you, it's 150 degrees. So it is two quincunxes that come together, because,
Right.
and they are the two that are, you got to adjust on this side. It's adjusting the treble and the bass, and the treble and the bass. It's all about the bass, about the bass.
Mm,
So we have two of those in the sky. When we look at it this way, right, we have it going up to Selene. Now, Selene again is She is generosity. She is the white moon. She is, again, about fluidity because she is the moon to begin with, and she's in Gemini. So now she's thinking and thinking and thinking and helping you discover little things like that. Now, how do you work on that bit, right? So if
Mhm.
you look down at one leg, we've got Estrella and the vertex at the time of the exact moon. So the vertex may have moved on, but Estrella is still at 1 degree, 0 degrees of Sagittarius. Well, when we think about it, Saturn is at 0 degrees of Gemini. So those two are opposite each other. And when we
Mhm.
were looking at that Star of David, that was one of the red lines, was that opposition. So he, Estrella is about justice and not being able to let go of where you feel that you've been slighted or shorted until you get that justice. But Celine is benevolent. So what do you have to do? You have to adjust your attitude. It's got to be a meeting. So you have to keep working at it. It's part of the shadow work.
Mhm.
Then
Yep.
on the other leg, from Celine on down, we go to the sun at 23 degrees, who's still hovering around those degrees. She's just moving at solar arc. And
Mhm.
Neptune at 1 degrees of, I'm sorry, yes, at 1 degree, Pluto at 1 degree of Jupiter in Aquarius, because my Jupiter is at 1 degree in Aquarius. So I got that going on, right? That's in my,
Mhm.
but the
Yeah.
that yod that it's forming is, is it worth the argument? Do you need to have that fight? So that's this to, oh God, why can't I do this? This one. But when we flip it this way, now, ah, come on, come on, there we go. Now our escape point where that finger is pointing is up here to Estrella. And at the time earlier, it was at the vertex. Now this leg is coming down to that Pluto. I'm sorry, to the Selene, and the other side where we have Hygeia and Eris conjunct.
Mm.
What is Eris? Eris is what we want to fight about. And what is Hygeia? Health. Does the argument worth what it does to your health?
And
That's
but
where you're making this adjustment, because they are conjunct at 24 degrees. They
right,
are
but the
sharing
other
the same
side of
space.
Eris, so Eris is also the goddess of discord. So yeah, she
Right?
wasn't invited. The lore is she wasn't invited to the the party that the gods were having, and she
Right?
threw the apple
She's
in.
the she's the creator of Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, she said to the fairest of them all and pissed them all off because she was, and she rightfully so, right? She was judging them on their opulence and not caring about the people and things like that, right? So, you know, she was pissed off for a reason.
Yeah,
Does it, and does have that does I'm sorry, who's with
like
her? Estrella?
Maleficent.
Who'd you say was conjunct her? I
Hygeia,
didn't.
which is about our
Hygeia.
health.
See?
And how do you take care of yourself? We all have, issues that are chronic. It's part of our shadow work. So I did something else that was impulsive. Okay, I decided that no matter what I get for the way of prebiotic and probiotics, they don't seem to be fixing my leaky gut syndrome, right? And I don't normally do things like this, but I went ahead and bought a bottle of that Bioma stuff that they're advertising like crazy about. It's some kind of newfangled prebiotic, probiotic,
Mm.
so I'm going to give it a try to see if that puts the balance back in.
Yeah, sometimes, and this is where detoxing, there's detoxes help get down and clear out what's in there. And sometimes you got to rebuild it. You just never know unless you're always getting blood work or stuff. I heavenly blessed, honey. It's a lot. I mean, we have to just keep trying, right? And I'm doing the same thing, like with the high G. I bought the NAD3, for the mitochondria. It helps you with your uh, energy and aging and all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what, and I think that maybe Eris, being the goddess of discord, is saying, how can I do this without the traditional medicine? Maybe there's a happy medium between natural and traditional. Maybe there's something going on that can work here for me, but it's so specific.
Well,
Yeah,
here comes Chiron. This is why
yeah,
Chiron doesn't leave. This is why Chiron is still just as important now as he was at the earlier time of the moon squaring him, because
yeah,
Mars is still squaring him. So it's a lot of trial and error is going on for all of us right now, right?
yeah, yeah. And Chiron, even though he's our deepest wound, that's where the remedy is. The
Yeah.
remedy's in the wound.
Well, and
But
that's Pluto shaking us up, like,
right,
come on,
yep,
wake up. Let's
wake up,
try
wake up.
something else. You've been doing it this way for blah blah blah. Now try
Try something new.
right.
Yeah,
Try something new. It's
yep,
not going to hurt you because you can always go back to the old. It's primarily the same thing, only there's something a little tweaked in this because this guy who invented this stuff, or whatever you want to call that, created this medicine, had the same issue, and nothing that he got out there that was readily available was doing the trick.
mm,
So I'll just give it a try.
yeah. I experiment on myself with everything for 30 days. If anything happens, I keep going. If it doesn't, I try something else. And that's all we could do, because I don't personally, I don't need to, and I don't have any issues, thankfully, right now.
And you
Uh,
know what else
but
Chiron
I
is?
don't need a pharmaceuticals. I just don't
Well,
take them.
and Chiron is giving us permission to have compassion for ourselves.
Absolutely. Well, Chiron, he just did that 95-day retrograde at 19 degrees. He's still at 19 degrees, but
Yeah,
he's going direct now.
right.
Now you have permission. Now you have cleared a lot of things that you don't even, we're not even real sure what is cleared in that 95 days.
Well,
Right. But
right.
it's in Aries, and it is all about us. I am. It's in Aries.
Well,
And
and
that Pluto, I just want to say this about Pluto in Aquarius. He's always looking for another innovation, a vision, another way to go about something. You've been doing it like this for 50 years. It hasn't worked. Let's try something else.
right. And look, he's right up here with a Hygeia, Eris, Xena, because I'm
Chiron.
calling her Xena,
Yeah.
and Chiron. They're there
Yeah.
together. He's at
Yeah.
19 degrees, but the other two are conjunct at 24.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Still
a
in the
little
work.
wide
Still.
for asteroids. That's 7 degrees. But you know what? He's
I
going
think.
that way.
Yeah.
He's headed towards them. So the Hygeia is identifying what the problem is. Remember, her father was also a doctor, a centurion, doctor of the universe, and
Mhm.
he went to her for the medicine. So you go to her to identify what the problem is, and perhaps this is the better solution. And then you give it to Chiron because he's the one who couldn't heal himself. So he is basically walking behind her, asking her for help.
Yeah.
And Xena is okay, let's fight for better health.
And so that's going on in Aries, and that is action oriented, right? So we're searching, we're trying to figure out what what can we do to make it happen for us? So whatever this is that we want to heal, right? All
Yeah.
that stuff in Pisces. I'd like to hit on that real quick because we got Venus, Saturn,
Oh, yeah.
Neptune, North Node in Pisces, and this is the heaviest Pisces we're going to see. And once everybody kind of goes off of there
Yeah.
within, there won't be much for 7 years after this year. Like once that Pisces clears, so
Well,
this is asking us to seriously dream big, use your imagination. This is how creating that north node in Pisces now, how we create the new earth is by using our imagination. We're the ones going to do it. We're
and
all
we
doing it
also,
individually, right?
well, we also have a beautiful, the moon is sextiling Uranus,
Mhm. That's
which
nice.
puts that in play with a
Yes.
trine to the Pluto North Node
Yeah.
conjunction also. And Uranus, he's getting ready
He's going to
to,
give us some.
yeah, go into Gemini. Oh
Yep.
God, now I'm going to have Uranus on my Uranus in Gemini. So it was hard when it was in Taurus and sat on my Mars. So it'll be
Uranus
easier now
doesn't
going
like,
through Gemini.
yeah, Uranus in Taurus, which is where he's at right now, 23 degrees. He's not, that's an earth sign. He's kind of restricted. He likes it. Uranus rules Aquarius. He's in the he's lightning bolts and fast moving. He can't move fast in Taurus. It's kind of like, should I move? Should I not? But he is holding us a space of, okay, how will we, how what are your, to bring those dreams into reality and bring them down and make them manifest on the physical plane. We got to think outside the box because these are new dreams, right? New ideas, new things coming through, and that's all of us. Oh, I wanted to say this. I don't know if anyone watches this girl. I've been watching her last couple months. Her name is Sarah Shook, and I'm watching her, and she was having a channeling thing, and they said to her, her guide said, "You aren't light workers anymore. You're heart workers." And I thought
Boy,
that was,
ain't that the truth?
it is so true. And I was like, oh my God, that resonated so much with me. I wanted everyone to hear it because it is so true. We are heart workers. We did the light. We've been holding the light. Now we're staying here in our hearts. It's getting a little rough, but I think we made it this far. Shook, Shook. Sarah. Let me see if I'm.
SARA. I'll look her
I
up too.
think it's Sara.
On YouTube?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sarah Shook.
Well,
I hope I'm right. Yeah, Sarah Shook. Sarah.
the
S
other
A
thing,
O
everybody, I'm looking here at the chat and everybody's feeling pretty much the same way today. In bed all day, in pain. Even if you did get up and push yourself, there still is this exhaustion, right? But we got to keep in mind that we are a product of our environment, which, don't forget, even if under gray skies ultraviolet comes through, all of that stuff on the sun is still going on. And today we had a 6.8 magnitude um, earthquake in Japan, tsunami warning, evacuations. I don't know if that's been lifted, but we're a part of that. We shook. Sarah's right. We shook. Even if we're not there, that is still part of the deeper earth. And those of us here stand in a place where we're connected with Gaia.
What?
We understand this, even though, I mean, we feel it, even though we may not recognize it. Kim,
Yeah.
Kim, how's your mom, Kim? And yeah, I was saying a little prayer for you guys earlier today.
Always, yeah.
You
Yeah,
slept for 10
it's a
hours. I
heavy.
slept for 10 hours yesterday. I was mad at the dogs this morning because they woke me up at 6 o'clock and I didn't want to get up.
I mean, it's a heavy feeling, and it's probably going to be this way for the next few days. Especially with that Pisces North Node 29, 28 hanging out.
Well,
We we
but
got
what else is in
water.
Pisces? Think of the other things in Pisces.
Yeah, we got Neptune, Saturn, Venus,
Venus conjunct Saturn, squaring
and
Jupiter.
Venus is going to retrograde. She's going to go into Aries, and then she's going to retrograde back into Pisces. So
Yep.
she's being restructured too. So you got to always think every time these planets do anything, they're speaking to each other, and they go back and forth from our vantage point, but that is information to us that astronomers and astrologers have over the millennia have
Right.
said this happens kind of this way on this time. I mean, it's not predictive
Well, and
astrology.
Venus conjunct Saturn, the two of them want us to commit. And Jupiter over on that square
But
says,
they don't
but
know what
let's
it.
make it bigger. Let's do this. Well, we got to do it one step at a time.
Yeah,
And
but they don't even know what they want to commit to. They're in Pisces. They're kind
that's
of
the challenge,
I
right?
don't
That's
know.
the challenge. How do we explore our options before we expand? We have to explore these things.
Right.
Like, how do you rebuild all
In
of
and
the
out.
devastation in Hollywood? So it's we got to look at Saturn. We still have responsibilities that we have to fulfill. So we look at Saturn for that. Then we look at Jupiter because we want to leave and move on forward. And then we look at Venus, who is, oh my gosh, I'm in my comfort zone. I don't want to go nowhere. I'm all cuddled up in a nice little floaty pool and I'm happy here.
Yep.
And
And
I'm
I
not
never.
daddy. Saturn is daddy and he's sitting here ready to take care of me. So, hey, what the heck? I don't want to go nowhere.
Nope.
So, yeah, we
I'm
need
with
to
my
clear
rubber
out.
ducky. Yeah, I could see her with a rubber ducky in a nice bath,
Right?
just chilling out like I'm
Danny
out.
is psychic duck. We all got Danny is psychic duck with us because
I forgot.
what do we do in this? This is about our values. First of all, we have to commit to our values.
Yes.
We have to commit to us.
What
We have to
what
find value
resonates?
in ourselves.
Right. What resonates with you?
Right.
And
And give
your
yourself permission
resonance,
for that.
right. Yes, give yourself permission. And resonance is it's a feeling.
Right.
This is all about our feelings. And I was being guided to go down, and you know your nervous system is guided by your feelings. And I'm like, oh man, and I'm getting all this stuff, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course it is. So how do you regulate your nervous system? I mean, this took me a long time to figure out. As a Cancer, I didn't think it was even possible to regulate my feelings or my nervous system, but it is. You come to a place where you go and you do that work, right? You got to go into your heart. It's not easy. Let yourself feel. What are you feeling? Especially if you're not feeling well. When we get a cold or we get any kind of any pain, my spine was hurting me all day today. Like it felt really heavy, like I was being crushed. And I took aspirin, nothing's working. It's just like I got in the shower and just let it, just the water hit it, and it started to feel better. It's the water that's healing in this moon. You got to think about it, right? It's like, it took me a minute. I'm like, oh man, maybe if I stand in the shower, that'll help, you know?
I did the same thing. I just, my kids sent me, is this the one that they sent me is called the waiver. and it's one of those plates that you stand on that vibrates.
I
The
need
best
one of those.
feeling is just, I mean, you can exercise on it, which I have been doing, but today I just got on it and stood on it. And all of that vibration is going right up your feet through the reflexology zones, the pads, the toes, the arch, the heel, all of that. It's going up your feet, up your legs, through into your inner soul,
So
to your heart, because it's like, oh, wow, you're relaxing the thigh muscles. I can't, that's what stiffens up the most on me because of the lupus and not being able to keep up my normal routine on a regular basis. And I have to have compassion for the woman that can't get over that at this point and relax. It's going to fade. It won't fade for till 2026. You know it. You know what you got to do. I got to invest in some sunblock clothes, those shirts that block out the UV rays and stuff like that. So, how many of you here in the chat also have ultraviolet issues because you have autoimmune issues? Do you realize that the sun can be, it's not just lupus, it's any rheumatoid related disease. The sun can be an enemy if you don't take precautions in
and
its
look,
protection with all the changes that have occurred up there
that's what I
with
was just gonna say. Yeah.
plasma being gone and the sun's own plasma coming and hitting us being stronger than the protection that's up there. Pardon me. They say we healed the or fixed the ozone. Well, maybe, but the other stuff is gone.
Well, the
That
sun is the sun. I mean, the sun is so strong. If it hit it, if it hit us like at a, and it has X27, X30. I mean, that's gonna really cause some damage. But it's doing it slow and steady. And we all watch Stephen Burns, and we know what's going on.
yes.
But what interested me today was not only the activity there. I was watching that other dude where Comet Atlas was coming close
Oh,
to the sun.
well,
I mean, we got so much things going on right now. Like, if
right.
that did it get
And
eaten by the sun? Did it crash into the sun? What did it do?
well, Stefan says he thinks that it's going to survive because it is bigger than the last one that went through.
Well,
And he
yeah,
thinks
this
that
is
it will
the
not be eaten up. It gets very close. What did he say? 5 degrees? Five.
wow.
It's very close. It's like Vulcan close, you know? So it's going to pass by it, but he thinks that it's so big that for the next couple of days, we should be able to see it on the horizon at sunset.
Wow, wow. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
check. Man, I was
And
looking
it'll
out for.
be, you will see Venus if you have clear skies, because I don't. But if you see Venus, watch for it right there, just after sunset, right on the horizon. And it's going to have a big wide tail. It's not going to be a shooting star dot. It's going to be a big wide tail.
Oh man, I want to see it. And what's that doing, right? Because to me, that's bringing in information. Everything is bringing in information that comes into our solar system. So, uh, Comet Atlas, and you gotta take into consideration how they name everything, right? And when it was named, and why it was named, and um, Atlas. I just
Well,
see I see Atlas. He's holding the world on his shoulders, right? And that's kind of just ringing a bell for me. But I got to dig into it more. I really haven't thought about it.
well,
Heavenly Blessed Honey says a lot. Yeah, why a lot of solar flares? We're
and they
in
knock us down.
solar maximum 25 right now, and that's going
Right,
to last out for this next year coming up. So this is
right.
something that's just going to constantly
So
constantly.
summer this year is not going
Hi,
to be
Mary.
any better than last year. If you were affected by it, expect that to be the same thing this year, this summer. So take the precautions that help. And some of that is working more inside than working outside when you are intolerant of these extreme rays.
Yeah. It's not easy. I mean, we all get
I agree, Mary.
everything triggers us. Everything. Yeah, Stephen Burns. He's really
You know, sometimes I go,
brilliant. Brilliant.
he is. He really is. He does. He looks at it from the same standpoint we look at things,
Yeah.
as an empath, as a
Yes.
psychic, as an astrologer, as
Love
you
him.
know,
Yeah.
all the things that you embody. He's got
Hmm.
that going on for himself as well, and he's a scientist, so he can merge the things together so that we can understand it. And I applaud him for that. And more times than not, he's right. I think the caption on his video for today was, NASA didn't expect this. Or that was this morning, because he's put out one since then about the earthquake. But
Hmm.
when he, they didn't expect the Atlas comet to come back, NASA didn't expect it to be there. They didn't expect it to last. They figured it would burn up before it got close to the sun.
That's what I heard last
Yeah,
time it came through. It wasn't gonna come through again. That's why I was like, am I seeing this right? And
yeah,
and the guy was doing he was had live video feed on it where the comet's coming towards the sun, and I'm like, holy moly. And this
right.
is a huge day. Like there, you gotta take into consideration when a comet that wasn't even expected comes out of nowhere, and here we are on a full moon in Cancer that just happens to be 2 days after the nodal change. That's a huge message. Hi,
Well, and
Mary.
from right now until we get to the wood snake dragon, I mean,
Ah,
things
yeah.
are that you can expect a lot of that Star of David to remain, because we're talking about slow moving
It's
things, things
slow.
that
Yeah,
move at the same rate.
yeah,
So there may be a changing of the guard a little
yeah.
bit, but you can remember you can expect that to be up there for at least another week because of the slow moving things that are in it. The moon might move on, but he's only going to do what? Every 2.5 days, 2.25 days, he's going to move into another sign, bringing him closer and closer to another conjunction in another point, you know?
Yeah. It's powerful. To me, this is a huge, powerful message about the unfolding of 2025, and we
And
don't
vulnerability,
know what that's going to be. We're just kind of feeling into the energies ourselves, right? This is
right?
this is
This
new.
Cancer moon leads us to vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel vulnerable.
Yes.
Love yourself, nurture yourself, take care of that
Yes.
vulnerable child that still exists inside of you. Um,
Give yourself. Give yourself. Pamper
right.
yourself.
There are things
Pamper-
headed our way we might not want to deal with. So take this moment and realize that these are all growing moments, growing steps. And
Mhm.
I, n- nothing taught me that more than riding a motorcycle and having to do a damn switchback. There's nothing more excruciating for me than to do a switchback. Till I did a couple of them. Doesn't mean I like them, but I did a couple of them and I began to understand what that switchback was about. And it's going with the flow, going with the flow.
This is all about going with the flow. If you're trying to force anything right now, you are struggling. You're putting yourself on a struggle bus.
Yeah.
Unless things have you've been working at it, and it's something that makes your heart smile, and you're following your heart and what you love and value, then the doors will open. But if you're doing something out of like obligation or because I have to, or it's just how it's always been done, and you're finding resistance, think about that when you're feeling the resistance. It's trying to tell you this isn't the way. There's a door. The door's blocked here. Go another way. And it's hard. It's hard when you get that and you're doing. You know.
So it's embrace the moment where we are, right?
Yeah.
Embrace where you are. Love yourself for what you're accomplishing. and doing now. It's ever so important.
Getting a
Call on
couple
your
more.
baby dragon.
Oh, the dragons and me, the dragons. Oh my goodness, they're
Canceled
just
the rocket launch today. Yes,
yeah.
those poor people up there.
Was that for them? Was that to
I
pick
don't
them
know
up?
if that one. I know that they canceled the rocket launch, and then in the
Yeah.
same sentence, I heard them say, "Excuse me,"
This
talk
is
about
Bezos.
not
I know.
rescuing them again. So I thought that the two things were together.
I think.
Don't quote me. Somebody in
I
the chat will know better than I do on that because
I
I'm
think
busy.
Bezos is doing a different launch, and Musk is supposed to get the people off of the thing, but and he's gonna crash it. I don't know. I don't even. Uh, it's ridiculous to me how the outside world is going.
I know.
Life's not a struggle; it's a wiggle. I love that.
Who said that? Life's
That's
not a struggle.
Leah.
It's a wiggle. I love it, Leah.
I love that,
Okay.
Leah. What?
So here's what we should do: create fertile space, then we heal in that fertility, and then
Love break break
explore.
Mary.
Once we've got some roots where we are, accept where you are, then you can explore. Like The Little Prince. I just got done reading that book. Loosen your grip.
Loosen your grip. Oh,
Right? Go with
yeah.
the flow. Loosen
Go
your
with that
grip.
flow. And this is a moon that is hitting you in your feels, especially about safety and security. So it.
So, what card did you get? I talked right through you showing it.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's okay. When you started talking, I got intensity.
How perfect. And then
Feeling anxious,
what was
feeling anxious. It says deep emotions, feeling anxious, overwhelmed, release or passion. So that's all, that's okay. We can feel those feelings, be honest with yourself. And as soon as we face a feeling, it took me a long time as a Cancer to learn this, it dissipates right pretty much in front of you.
so what's your rising card? What's the card on the bottom? What's your rising energy?
Protection was
Oh,
the,
see?
yeah.
Those two
Thing.
things go hand in hand, right?
Mhm.
And I got loosen your grip, but it also says the rising energy is about a new earth because when you do, right? When you loosen that grip, you're giving your roots room to grow and create yourself a new world.
I love that.
One.
Because
I
that's
love
what we're,
these cards. Thank
yeah.
you.
Oh, you're welcome. I love that though, because that's exactly what we're doing. We're feeling into, right? We're feeling into how do we create a new world? What does that mean? How
I don't know, but I think I got the answer right here because I cut the deck to stick one of those cards in it for the shuffle,
uh-huh.
and I got perspective, and I
I
got
love
the. Is that the Earth or the full moon? I can't tell.
I can't either. I love that. Oh my God,
Right?
perspective.
I mean, how perfect is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be, January starting out hard, starting out
Uh,
spicy. Let's put it that way.
right? Perspective says none of it matters. Zoom in
None
and
of
zoom out.
it's truth. None of it matters. Oh my God. Okay.
Turn. What was it? Incense and peppermints, the color of time. Death came to many things that I can't define. Look at yourself. Look at yourself. Yeah, girl.
I like this, Mary. I love Greg Bragnon. I love him. Is this a new one? And
Oh, Braden. Yeah. Yeah. You can't help but love him, man.
the chaos is in
I've
the.
been listening to him for too many years.
Yeah, right. And I mean, he's just such a sweet, he's beautiful soul. So many beautiful souls, and so many people are awakening. And I mean, it's just we are. To me, what those nodes changing 2 days ago was the old 26,000 year cycle is closed.
You
It,
know,
and if you keep bringing stuff from there that didn't work or was life negating, you're just
yeah.
spinning your wheels, you know?
And one of many in this generation that was born around the same time as I
My goodness.
that have the Aries North node and the Libra South node, or the vice versa of. So those nodes were working with our charts, period, because we've already got this configuration in our chart. And I could feel the release. And I was like, oh, thank God. my work might be a little easier now. If I've got a flotation device, the North Node will just go. And I can't tell you how many dreams about water I've had. Not just because I'm doing water stuff for California, but, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, just that they've been so, Neptune is so water, water, water right now.
Yep. And North Node and Neptune. Hey, I just looked down. I picked this. It's a gateway. One of the cow gray gateway cards. Star gathering. It says stars aligned. Remembering home. Okay, that's Cancer moon is all about your home. It rules the fourth house of home. Soul family. And see, we're all together. Soul family
Yeah.
at home. And we feel at home with each other.
You
And
know, last week, Friday, Tupac is coming into me, coming in to talk.
I like
Tupac is
to
coming in to talk. Even Biggie Smalls. I keep saying yo, and I have never said yo,
I get
but
I
it
love
has
it.
to be it
I say
could
yo
very
all
well
the
be Tupac, but just as easily be Biggie also.
That is so cool. Well, you know what? They were both brilliant young men.
Yes.
Very
I-
brilliant,
I've
very
got a
ahead of
book
their
of
game.
Tupac's poetry. Just
Yeah.
well, and the same with Kurt Cobain. I got a book of his poetry
Hmm.
too. Oh my God, they're they're Bob Dylan all over again. Each
So
with
that
their own abilities to be a bard, but definitely, I mean, Bob Dylan is way up there, and bless his soul, bless his soul. He he survived himself, because that was
yeah,
one guy who could have just done himself in, but every time he got on that verge, he'd straighten up his act. And I'm sorry that I can't say I saw him when he and I were the same age, though he's always been older than me.
well,
But
he's the
when we
old
were
soul.
young, but I did get to see him, and he's physically beginning to show it problems.
Mm,
Like, I think they wheel him in and out off the stage in a wheelchair.
mm. And he's still going. Well, God bless his soul. I mean,
Yep.
really, it's just like he's doing what he loves, right? That's what matters, and that's the point.
Yay.
Yeah, you know,
Well, Mary
it,
Starshine got to meet him twice. I assume you mean Dylan, right?
I think she meant Greg Braden when we were talking
Oh,
about him earlier. Maybe.
that's just as thrilling, because he
Yeah,
sure
let
does
us
use
know,
words
Mary.
very well. Well, and he's a musician also. And
Yeah,
how many of us
you can tell
resonate
he's
to
a
that
tourist.
frequency? We are of this. We're not the only generation to be about music. Music is all about humanness. It's all about
Mhm.
angelic. It's all about the above, so below. It is the resonance. It is the echo in the rocks. It is the thunder beat of Gaia churning her guts, and
Mhm.
and the frequency from above that makes sure she stays alive.
Mhm. I mean, it's fascinating how it all just works, how we vibe off each other, and it's just constant, you know.
Leah,
And
I think Bob was born as a Gemini that year. He's a Gemini.
oh wow,
I think. I mean, the chart I've looked at for him, that's where it shows in Gemini. But
Mary was talking
I
about
could be
Greg
wrong.
Braden. Yeah, he kind of looks like it. And, personal planets, you'll have either the sign before or the sign after, or the sign of your sun in your
Yes.
personal planets.
Plus, I think it's his moon that is it's either his rising sign or his moon that is Taurus.
Mm.
Something important.
He
You
looks
know,
Taurus. He
something.
looks like
They're
a
all
Taurus.
important. I didn't mean to
Hmm.
like any of you planets. Please forgive me.
I know. I never done because some parts of you will come out. And I'll be like, "Who the heck is that?"
Well,
I
and
never remember.
Greg Braden is a double Cancer. He has a Cancer
Mhm.
moon and a
Oh, you
Cancer
can
sun.
tell he's so
Hmm.
like, and for a guy his age to come into his heart and be as for as long as he's been in his heart, like that's a pioneer, as a
Yeah.
divine feminine, divine masculine. I mean, it really, he's the, it's like he's the one to bring that in to the males, to the masculine,
You
really,
know,
really.
around the time his mom died, he went through it really took, you could see it was taking a toll on him, and I think he had entertainment purposes only. Just looking at him, it looked as if he had Bell's palsy on one side of his face for a while. It doesn't seem to be bothering him now, but at the time. So maybe it was just the stress of losing his mom and such.
A lot. I mean, look how much, think about how much we've been through since 2020. There's been a lot of loss. There's been, not, we all have to face these deep, deep seated emotions.
Good
That's
night,
not,
Kim. Thank you for being here, and I hope your mom continues to have good days.
yeah, Kim. Talk to you soon. Be safe.
I'll still have her on that altar with you.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. You're such a sweetie. Yeah, it's we got to give ourselves every chance we can. Remember how strong you are. Remember going forward. It's like moment to moment, right? And being in those moments of where you place your focus and it's based usually on what you're feeling. And we got to get used to that
Yeah, we do.
feel
And
and
we all
feel
have
and
the power,
react.
but
Feel.
we can't forget it. Oh, I put out a little short today. If you would like a little candle blessing, I was doing some candle work this morning, and I rolled my candle in dragon's breath and wormwood. Wormwood is one of the Artemisia plants, which is good for our joints and our bones and pain
Mhm.
and autoimmune. And the same thing with dragon's blood to build up our autoimmune. So if you want a little candle work, go check it out.
It was really sweet. I watched it right before we came on.
Thank you.
I loved it. It was nice. And see, Mary saying he was very close to his mom. Okay,
Yes.
so
He
double
talked
cancer.
about her in so many of his
Look at
videos.
that. Okay, look at that relationship, that nurturing he got when he was born.
Mhm.
Like that's
Well,
important. It's so important.
and he saw what his mom went through and the environment in which he and his brother and his mom went through with his father, and how his mom was the breadwinner and his mom took care of him, and after the
Hmm.
separation divorce, he's a Cancerian, he might even be a triple, but I know he's a double for sure. I can't remember what his rising sign is, or Yeah, one of them. Anyway, it's his son and one of the others for sure. And he's just so committed, so
Yeah.
committed. He, can you can imagine any of you here who have had those childhood traumas of the poor interaction between parents, which creates poor
Mm,
interaction in the family unit.
mm-hmm. Sure does. It's a whole lot. It's a whole thing to
Yes, Mary.
unravel, you know.
Yeah.
And if you're sensitive, it's really it's you know.
Hmm.
But that's what we came in here for on a soul level to come in. We've been
Yep.
in training. We've been in training since we've been born, and
Right.
we're evolving and we're helping to raise the frequency on Mother Earth. There's so much going on, and that moon
Bye,
is
Penny. I'll talk to you later.
guiding us. I know it's probably getting late. We're
I
almost at
know. I'm
an hour and
so
a half.
thankful that so many folks have still sat with us in this chat. Yes,
I'm so
Mary.
sorry.
Wormwood
It's like
gets rid of parasites. Artemisia gets rid of parasites, but especially the wormwood variety.
oh my
The other
goodness.
variety, we can make a little alcoholic drink, absinthe.
I'm so sorry that we're going an hour and a half. I'm sorry. Okay. Is there anything? Should we sum up? How should we do this? Feel your
What to sum
feelings.
up? Well, I'm going to stick
Feel
with
your
what I
feelings.
said earlier.
Process your feelings. Calm your nervous system.
Yep. Uh,
Really give
create,
yourself the love and care that you need. The time outs when you need them.
right?
I would say
Be
for sure.
present where you are.
Yes.
Allow healing. Create fertile space. Then, when you have that fertile space of loving yourself, that's when you heal.
That's right.
And
Mhm.
then we can explore.
Yeah.
Give
There
ourselves time
we
to get through this winter and get out of one season into the next.
right. It's
Right?
gonna
We're in the
be
cardinal sign of Cancer of Capricorn. We're about to go into a fixed sign of Aquarius. So as we go through these patterns, when we get to the next mutable, Pisces, Sun in Pisces, then we can feel more like we'll be able to make a change.
yeah, the new moon in Aquarius is at the end of the month. I think it's the 30th. I'm not sure. I can't see my stuff.
That's
But
right.
and on the 20th though, when the sun goes into Aquarius on the 19th, on the 20th it's going to be conjunct Pluto. So the sun at 1 degree, Pluto at 1 degree
And
Aquarius. That's
my
going to
Jupiter at 1 degree.
on the 20th, and we know what the 20th is, right? Well, that's going to be out of the out of
What
the
shall we say?
stratus out of the stratosphere day. Supposedly it's the inauguration. I don't know.
Yeah.
January 29th is the new moon in Aquarius.
Yeah.
So we will definitely be back for that. Um, we did we say everything? With
I think we said everything and then some. And yes, Mary Wormwood gets rid of parasites. And Greg, absolutely abusive, absent father. And you're right. He didn't get along well because his brother took after daddy.
And let's go with what Mary's saying here. Love lifts everyone else, and that is so true.
Right.
Self love and self acceptance. Once you do that in inside of you, and it radiates out of you, and it just that's how
Yep.
we that's how we be the love we are, be the light we are. Now we're heart workers,
Right.
according to Sarah
Let
Strokes.
right. Let that be the virus we catch.
Oh, I love that. All right, y'all. We love you very
Yep.
much. Thank you for hanging out with us as long as you did. If anyone has a question, drop it in now. Uh, oh, the Smith report.
And
Report.
if anybody wants personal readings, Akashic or mediumship or tarot or astrology, either one of us. And if you want astrology, you can talk to both of us at the same time because we like doing that too.
Well, we love, and we always pulling cards, and all the information is in the description box. And we appreciate you. We love you. Don't be afraid to be the love you are. You know, the world. It's vulnerable, right? It's being vulnerable and being in your power, and as you are being vulnerable. Does that make sense?
Blessings as the lunar year ends and the new one gets ready to begin.
We love you all very much, and we will see you soon. Be safe out there. Blessings. Love you all.
Namaste.
Yay. Get to
Oh,
sleep.